most guys, they will walk into a venue, right, and immediately they will start screening the environment. Okay, who's cooler than me? Who's better dressed? Who has more money?
Yeah.
And they tend to get distracted by the environment, and it's very important, for you to be very grounded in who you are, being very convinced who you are.
Yes.
And and be unfazed by the environment. Okay.
Yes.
When you start competing with other people in the environment, you start getting in your head. Okay, who's richer than me? Who has more money? Who has better fashion?
Yeah.
Who's better looking?
Yeah.
Now, if you do that, okay, it's never going to work out for you.
Yes.
Because a competitive state is never good. Now, when I first started going out, I started trying this thing of, everyone here is my friend.
Yeah.
It's like we're all here to have fun. We're all here to party. We all deserve to be here. Instead of immediately screening where's my threat. Who can be my potential competition.
Yeah.
And most guys actually they will screen the environment, and when you walk into the venue, it's very important for you to be very grounded, okay, very unfazed, and I can say it in a way that you're very in your own reality. You're not in other people's realities.
Yeah, because people talk a lot about frame, don't they, in this space? And in a sense, if you go into the environment, you go into the cool nightclub or the bar, and you're getting phased by the people or the environment around you, you're then in the frame of the environment, aren't you? And actually, you need to be in your own frame. This is all sounding a little bit meta now, but I hopefully you guys know what we mean here. And actually, we talked about Andrew Tate before, and I mean, Andrew Tate is a very well-dressed guy. Obviously, he's got a lot of money, so he can afford expensive clothes. But a lot of the time, you'll see Andrew Tate on a podcast or an interview, and he's just wearing a t-shirt. He's just wearing a very simple t-shirt. It's nothing fancy, but he still conveys value as a guy. And how is that? You made an interesting observation, but I think it's down to being unapologetic, I think, is key.
So, for you guys don't know what a frame is, okay? A frame, a window, simply a window, how you interpret reality, okay? So, it should just be, my life is awesome. I'm fully convinced who I am, okay? I know who I am. I'm not holding myself back, and I'm perfectly fine, okay, being with myself, okay? It should not just be, the hot girl's there, you're like trying to be in her party, be in my life, okay? You should think like your life is already cool enough, it's already awesome enough, and if the girl comes into your life, it's great. If not, it's also great. It's fine. So whatever state you're in is just fine. And now if you can somehow transit that into your own lives and start feeling fine, whatever environment, whatever state you're in, then it's going to help, because you're not going to be very competitive. You're not going to screen for those who with a higher social status, because there's always going to be somebody who's richer than you. There's always going to be somebody who's better looking than you. There's always going to be somebody who's better dressed than you. Now you can never outcompete that.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's absolutely right. And in a way, the way that you perceive yourself and the way that you perceive the world has to be stronger than that of the other people around you. And I've heard it said that he with the strongest frame wins, right? And I think that's very true. It's actually true, even if you were having a debate with somebody and you are so convinced of that what you're saying is correct, in the end, the other person's likely to bend to your will, or you're likely to win that debate, unless maybe the other person is equally convinced. But there was an interesting thing I read about a while back called Steve Jobs, and it was the reality distortion effect. And basically, there was an anecdote by somebody that used to work for Steve Jobs, and this ex-employee said, Steve Jobs used to be so convinced of what he was saying that he would get the guys into a room and he'd be like, right, how long is this project going to take? And they'd say 10 months. He'd say, no, don't be ridiculous, we can get it done in 10 days. And he would be so super convinced that he would almost distort the reality around him, and people would buy into his way of thinking. Be like, oh, well, actually, yeah, no, maybe you're right. And that's how you want to be. You want to be so convinced of your, as you said, your place in the world, the value of what you bring to wherever you are, and just being very grounded, that people then buy into that. I think the problem, what I wanted to do actually was go on and ask you the problems that some of the guys that you train, maybe some common problems or issues that guys face, maybe going into night game situations in particular that are quite high pressure. But it seems to me one of the key issues here is that guys very quickly allow themselves to be phased by the environment rather than being their own man and just taking control.
So speaking about that, I think a lot of my students actually. So I had this student in Vegas. I was there last month, and Vegas is known for these huge clubs, hotel lobby sized, massive, holds like thousands of people. And I had this student, and he was saying, oh, like, I feel out of place. I feel like, my value was a lot lower than other people's.
Yeah.
And he immediately doubts himself before he even opens the girl. And that is not ideal, because if you reject yourself before you even approach the girl, the approach anxiety kicks in before you know it, and you're not in a great position really. Because if you think that, and most of these guys in coming to us for coaching have this mindset, and then they never end up approaching, and that's why they come to us. They're like, well, I have this approach anxiety, and my thinking, my core beliefs, what they believe in, what they intrinsically believe in, and a lot of them have very doubtful, limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And I think, me included, I had a lot of limiting beliefs. When I was younger, for example, this is going to sound ridiculous, but white girls have high value than me. I don't deserve blonde girls. Stuff like that. And think about it, it does make sense, because I've never seen them before, because it's kind of rare for me.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's actually like science behind this, which I'll talk about later on. And what that does is, like, these core beliefs triggers approach anxiety. It triggers you to be very uneased around those people that you want to meet. Around those girls that you actually want to meet. And what's the other things? I'm low value for being in Europe, but actually looking at it now, it's like everyone is unique. Like, you and I, we're all unique. Everyone else is unique. Everyone has their own value to people, and it's a matter of conveying that to other people.